Good evening, Tottenham fans. Big game tomorrow at Old Trafford against Manchester United. And to be honest, this game could go either way. In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 ways if Spurs do what I say in this video, we could get this over the line and get the victory. I'm going to talk through about Man United and what their threats are. Also going to put my lineup up to tell you what team I think we should put out, not the team that I think Frank will put out, but the team that I think we should put out to beat Manchester United. Now, we are Man United's bogey team at the moment. They haven't beaten us for a long time. And I think last season we beat them 4 times, didn't we? So we drew this season 2-2 when we were seconds away from beating them yet again. So Man United have a little bit cursed when they come to playing Spurs at the moment, and we need to take advantage of that. Let's look a little bit into Man United's strengths, as I really think that they're very good at counter-attacking at the moment. I've watched their last 3 games under Carrick, and they were very good. I watched the Man City game, and I watched the Arsenal game fully, and I watched the highlights from the Fulham game. And their counter-attacking is very fast, very clinical, and that's something we have to be muchly aware of. The loss of Dorgu is going to affect them a little bit, because I think he was a massive part of their counter-attacking. So hopefully that dents them a little bit. Also, their front 4 are absolutely deadly. You know, you got Cunha, Sesko. Sesko's becoming the player that they bought now. You got Mbeumo, scores nearly every week now. And you got Bruno Fernandes feeding all 3 of them. So very strong front line they have, and they're very hard to contain and very hard to stop. Also, their confidence is going to be very high. Like I said, they just beat Manchester City, they beat Arsenal, they beat Fulham, and convincingly as well, with a lot of shots on target, a lot of attacking play, you know, a lot of counter-attacking football as well. They can sit back when they need to, but they can also press on the front foot when they need to too. So they switch it up pretty well, which is very hard to predict. Then you've got, they're at home, they're fighting for a Champions League position now. Who would have said that 6 months ago? Who would have said that probably about a month and a half ago? But Man United are pushing for 4th place. They're pushing for a Champions League place. They're at home. I think the fans at the moment are rejuvenated. I think they're a lot happier now. So they're going to be right behind the side. So the first 20 minutes is going to be vital for Spurs. And as we all know, Spurs don't start very well. But I'll get into that in a bit. Man United are playing some very good football, very fast one-touch football, which is hard to defend against. So putting all this into perspective, what do Spurs need to do to be able to beat Manchester United? Now, my father-in-law is a Man United fan, so we really need to beat them. Otherwise, I will get the banter tomorrow. So come on, you Spurs, you need to do it. So what we need to do is we need to press them high, in my opinion. I think pressing them high, suffocate their midfield, and just make sure that they just can't get a rhythm in their passing going. Just keep interrupting anything that they're trying to do before they can get it to their forward players. If you nullify the midfield and defense with your forward thinking pressing, and it will stop the threat going the other way. Well, it won't stop it, but minimize it as much as possible. Also, what we need to do is we need to cut off Bruno Fernandes. Yes, I know it sounds obvious to most people, but you cut Bruno Fernandes off, then you cut the front 3 off as well, because he's the main guy that supplies them guys. If you can cut him off and stop him from playing, then 9 times out of 10, you'll lower their chances that they get. Then we need high tempo in both halves. Now, what I just spoke about this earlier, Spurs need to be on it from the start. If Man United come out fast, which I'm expecting them to do, and they press us and they go for it in the first 20-25 minutes, and we have our usual slow, lethargic, misplaced passing, that sort of start, Man United will punish you, and they would probably get 2 or 3 goals in the first half, and then it'll be done for us. Even if we make a comeback, there's no way we can win the game. So We can't kill ourselves off in the first half like we have done in recent weeks. We've done well to get back into games, but we really need to start fast against Manchester United. We need to have 2 good halves. Now, the good thing about that is Spurs are better away than they are at home. For some unknown reason, we just are. So that gives me a little bit more hope. Also, we need to get Xavi on the ball. We need to make sure that Xavi's on the ball, but also in space. Now, I know Man United will close him down fast because they know he is a deadly passer when he's on his game. And when he played against Manchester City in that second half, he was unplayable. They couldn't get near him. When they did double up on him, he just played a through ball to Solanke. It's Xavi needs to get on the ball as much as possible and make things happen. But not only that, the players around him need to move for him and make up his mind for him. Earlier in the season when Xavi was getting the ball, there was no movement in front of him and he ended up dawdling on the ball and losing the ball. But once there was movement in front of him, especially Solanke, because Solanke's movement was very underrated. When Solanke's on the move all the time, it makes Xavi's mind up for him, makes Xavi into a better player when he's got players to pass it to. So movement needs to be good. Xavi needs to be on the ball and he needs to be in space. Last one's very obvious. We need to be clinical. I think both teams are going to get lots of chances. But I think if we're more clinical than Man United are, if we can somehow contain them as much as we can, but are clinical with our chances, then we have a very good chance of winning this game. Now, for me, this can go either way. Man United are on hot form at the moment. Spurs have had a week to prepare. They don't get that often. Man United have had a week to prepare every single week because they're not in any European competitions at the moment. So Spurs are on level playing field with Man United this week. Let's hope Spurs can take advantage of that because we're not used to having a week off. So hopefully players are rested and players can get on it. Now, this is the 11 I think Spurs should play against Man United because I think that this way they will be able to contain them a lot better higher up the pitch. So I've gone with Vicario in goal because obviously I just think that's who's going to play. I think Spence is back from injury, but apparently he was 50-50, but I would still play Spence there because he's such a good defensive defender, if that makes sense, especially with the front four that they have. Romero and Van der Ven, their job is to keep Sesko quiet and Buemo quiet and step out into midfield to stop Bruno if he gets past the midfielders. You've got your doggy on the left-hand side as well, who's a very, very good left-back. Now, I would put Paulinho and Gray in that double pivot in front of them two. Gray is full of energy, loves to put his foot in, and he's actually getting better and better on the ball now, so he can spray it forward. Paulinho, his job is to stop Bruno Fernandes, like I mentioned earlier in the video. If he can get on to Bruno Fernandes, follow him wherever he goes and not give him a second to breathe, he would be massive for us tomorrow. I put Gallagher in that number 10 role because, like I said earlier, pressing from the front is massively important tomorrow, and Gallagher in that number 10 role will be absolutely quality at that. He won't be playing as a number 10, he'll be playing as a box-to-box, but further forward than Gray and Paulinho. So he can get in the box as well to try and score goals, but also press from the front, and his pressing is absolutely insane. So is Paulinho's. Xavi on the left-hand side, I know really we should put him in the 10, but if we put Xavi on the left-hand side with his pressing, get him into space, and he can cause a lot of problems. Odegaard, for me, is getting better and better each week on that right-hand side. He can take on his man, and he can create chances. I've been very unlucky not to score lately. He keeps hitting the woodwork, but I'm sure he'll score soon. Solanke up front, like I said, his movement is exceptional, very underrated. He can score goals as well. His hold-up play is very good, and he can link up with Gallagher, Odegaard, and Simmons, and we can cause Man United all sorts of problems. Now, if we stick to the plan and our passing is on point, we're not misplaced passing, we're full of energy and we press, we've got a very, very good chance of beating Manchester United. But will we do that for both halves? That is the main question. Can Spurs play two halves of football and play them well? We're going to have to, because Man United will. I know that for a fact. And I know just by watching them the last 3 games, they will be up for this and they will be thinking in their heads that this is 3 points for them because they'll see us in 14th place. And I think they'll probably underestimate us a little bit, thinking that we're not that good. But I think on our day, we can beat them. So my score prediction for tomorrow, if things go well, if we don't end up with more injuries and we play to the standard that I know we can play at, and we don't hide and we don't sit back and wait for Man United to attack us, and we don't play to their strengths, then I honestly think we can win. It's going to be a high goal scoring game tomorrow, I reckon, as well. I'm going to say 3-2 to Tottenham Hotspur. I just think we can get that win over the line. It's going to be touch and go. It could go either way, in my opinion. 3-2 to Spurs is my prediction. Let me know in the comments what you think of today's video. What do you think we need to do to beat Manchester United tomorrow? What players would you put up in the lineup? And what is your score predictions? Thank you for watching, and come on, you Spurs.